Do this Viv Ford style, as they say. Riding my bike, I got Fibonacci right in front of me. So, chapter 0, I think, is that music is not among the things that are ownable. One cannot own music. And attempts to get that wrong are a big part of the reason that musicians are not really being compensated right now. I love that turn of phrase, attempts to get that wrong, because that really is what it is. Music is a thing that happens. Things that are ownable have to be things that happen in space. Music is a thing that happens not in space, but in time. And things that happen in time are capturable and infinitely replayable. Certainly things that emit vibrations, which can be recorded by a microphone, photons, which can be captured by a sensor. It seems like probably with sufficiently precise machinery, all things that occur in time can be captured and copied. Things that occur in space cannot. They can't be arbitrarily copied. So music, the reason to pretend that music is ownable, I assert, the only benefit of pretending that music is ownable is not a benefit that accrues to musicians. Hello, y'all. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. The benefit of music, of sort of imagining that music is ownable or getting it wrong on purpose, so to speak, is that it gives the intellectual property complex something they can say they own, something that they can, if it comes to it, I suppose, become violent over. In other words, there's criminal charges that can be leveled for not participating in the myth that music is ownable. And so over time, musicians have, of course, made money by selling things that are ownable. Physical media is perhaps chief among them. Vinyl records to CDs, with things, in between. But, physical media people still buy physical media. But to own a piece of physical media is only owning music in the sense of that legal fiction. Because, of course, if you have a piece of physical media, it's possible to copy that onto an identical piece of physical media. You can't, you can give the other one away and someone else could own that other one. They could be the sort of, in the physical world, the obvious rightful owner of that piece of vinyl or piece of plastic. And yet, it has an identical copy of the music that comes with it. And the thing that happened in time is not exclusively owned by one or the other of them. But physical media are a great way to memorialize the waveform of the music. And because they're ownable, they're a nice, what's up, y'all? Yo, Happy New Year. Oh, man, our neighborhood is really lively tonight. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, bro. And so, now there's also, like, in that sense, the physical media that you sell music on is merch. It's just merch, right? It's just a unique piece of matter in the world, vinyl or plastic, that happens to contain the waveform of the music that you're interested in. But the physical media itself is just merch. Of course, musicians are, in some cases, quite successful selling other types of merch. I think that the future is largely on-chain merch. I think that what was once the physical aspect, in the sense of the vinyl or the CD, you can have, on-chain merch is much more physical than things that sort of exist purely on the clock. You can have, you have to have physical custody of on-chain merch, which I think is cool. So, Another thing that is ownable, of course, is the means to exert force. One can own armies and cops and weapons and prisons. And presently, the myth is that because of those real world objects, the real ability to project force, well, we can use that. This is, the criminal law has, the federal government of the United States has quite harsh penalties for simply copying data, and we can use that infrastructure of violence in order to prevent people from copying data, and this protects musicians. This is the story we're told. But of course, what it actually protects is the ability for the intellectual property rent-seeking complex to have something they can own, and that's the whole way that that the middlemen of the economy of music appear, is because there's something to own. Live music is a different economy because now you're talking about real estate, but actually a lot of the same patterns tend to emerge. For related reasons, which we'll get into later. But again, that's chapter 0. It's that music is not ownable the way like my bike is ownable.